You know that feeling, right? You've held your breath just a little too long, maybe underwater, and that panic starts to build. Your chest gets tight, your brain starts screaming, and every single part of you is just begging for air. It feels so primal, so urgent, like you're just seconds away from shutting down. But what if I told you that entire powerful urge is basically a big misunderstanding? That feeling of sheer desperation isn't what you think it is. It is an alarm system for sure, but it's not ringing for the reason you'd expect. So that brings us to the real question here. What if that desperate gasp for air has almost nothing to do with running out of oxygen? What if your body is actually reacting to something else entirely? Let's dig in. Okay, so here's the first big reveal. That overwhelming, can't ignore it urge to breathe, it's not about what you're lacking, it's about what you're building up. This is where we flip the script on what most of us believe. We all think our body panics when the oxygen tank hits E, right? But the reality is, our bodies are way more sensitive to an increase in carbon dioxide, or CO2. In fact, your oxygen levels can get surprisingly low without you even really noticing. The real trigger, that loud, obnoxious alarm bell, that's the CO2. So how does your body even know this is happening? Well, it's all thanks to these amazing little things called chemoreceptors. Think of them like tiny security guards posted in your brainstem and major arteries. And here's the kicker. Their main job isn't even watching oxygen. They are absolutely obsessed with monitoring CO2 levels. So here's how it all goes down. You hold your breath, simple enough, but that means you stop exhaling CO2. As the cellular waste starts to pile up in your blood, it makes your blood just a tiny bit more acidic. But that little shift is all it takes. Those chemoreceptors, they spot it instantly, and bam, they hit the panic button, sending a signal straight to your brain that screams, breathe, now. So remember this, it's not a hunger for air, it's your body's intolerance for CO2. All right, so you're probably thinking, okay, I get it, the alarm is all about CO2. So what's the big deal with oxygen then? If it's not the trigger, why do we even need it? Well, this is where it gets really cool, because while CO2 might be the alarm, oxygen is the real prize. It's the key to unlocking an absolutely insane amount of energy. To really get this, we've got to talk about something called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. The easiest way to think about it is like money for your cells, literally cellular cash. Every single thing your body does, every thought, every heartbeat, every tiny muscle twitch, it all has a cost, and that cost is paid in ATP. It is the universal energy currency for all life as we know it. Now check this out. Your body can actually make a little bit of energy without any oxygen. It's a process called anaerobic respiration. But when it breaks down a sugar molecule this way, the payoff is, well, it's pretty pathetic. You only get 2 units of that ATP cash. For complex creatures like us, that's just incredibly inefficient. But what happens when you introduce oxygen into that equation? This is where the whole game completely changes. With oxygen in the mix, the process is called aerobic respiration, and the energy payoff, it's not just a little better, it is absolutely astronomical. That same single molecule of glucose now produces around 32 ATP. That is 16 times more energy. This right here, this is the secret sauce that allowed life to become complex and fast and smart. Oxygen is the ultimate biological supercharger. So we've got these two sides of the same coin, right? You have the urgent need to dump CO2 to shut off the alarm, and you have the critical need to bring in oxygen to cash in on all that energy. And the amazing organ that sits right in the middle, masterfully handling this whole transaction, your lungs. And it is such a beautiful, elegant system. When you breathe in, air is pulled down into millions of tiny little air sacs called alveoli. And this is where the magic happens. On a microscopic level, oxygen literally jumps from your lungs into your bloodstream, grabbing a ride on your red blood cells. And at the exact same moment, all that CO2 waste your blood has been carrying gets dropped off, ready for you to just exhale it away. It's a perfect continuous swap. Now, this whole incredible process didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the end result of billions of years of evolution, tied directly to the history of planet Earth itself. Seriously, the way you're breathing right this second is a direct legacy of one of life's greatest and most dramatic transformations. It's wild to think about, but for about the first 1.5 billion years of life, Earth was an oxygen-free world. Then, around 2.3 billion years ago, tiny bacteria started pumping out oxygen as a waste product, kicking off the Great Oxidation Event. This was actually poison to most life at first. But some organisms adapted, and that adaptation fueled this incredible burst of creativity called the Cambrian explosion. Oxygen levels even peaked around 35% in the Paleozoic era, which, get this, allowed insects like dragonflies to get absolutely enormous. So our lungs, our blood, our very cells, they are all a direct product of this planetary history. We evolved not just to tolerate oxygen, but to harness its unbelievable power, creating this whole system to manage that delicate dance of getting O2 in and CO2 out. So the next time you take a breath, just stop and think about what's really going on. It's so much more than a reflex. It's a negotiation with your own chemistry, an echo of a planetary transformation. That urge you feel isn't just panic. It's the voice of 3 billion years of evolution, reminding you to complete the cycle.